Everybody, and welcome to the Kohaku project channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. Today's video is not an experiment quite yet. I actually wanted to give a little introduction to myself, talk about who I am, why I'm here, what I'm doing, and why self-improvement matters so much to me. I want to put a disclaimer out there and just make it super clear that I am not trying to say that I am perfect or that I am some sort of angel or that I'm super smart or intelligent or anything like that, because I'm not. I just am really passionate about self-improvement. I want to make sure that I am the best version of myself that I can be, because I am so not perfect. And to kind of lead into today's video, I wanted to talk about kind of like my journey in mental health and my journey in self-improvement and how I have basically gotten here today. So let's get started. My name is Nikki. I am 28 years old and I'm currently a stay-at-home mom. I had a very traumatic, very tumultuous childhood, I'm sure a lot of people out there. I was raised by my dad and I did not know my mom. And to this day, I actually have no idea who she is. My dad and I had a very strained relationship. It was very toxic and very unhealthy and a lot going on there. My sister unfortunately was put in a position where she essentially had to raise me for the time that she was living with us. When she moved out, I was kind of just raising myself. So when I moved out at 17, I didn't really know what I was doing. I felt like I was an adult, but also still a child. And self-improvement and working on myself and all of that kind of stuff just was not on my mind at all. I was just trying to find a job, figure out if I was gonna go to school or not, get a good car, and just kind of survive. I ended up getting into a few toxic relationships. I picked up some friends here and there, lost some friendships here and there, and just kind of struggled in my 20s for sure. I had a bad habit of picking up and going to a different city and thinking that I could just start fresh essentially. And if you have ever moved in your life to a different city or to a different apartment or anything like that, you might have this feeling of oh, I'm having a fresh start. And so that's exactly what I thought that I was doing every time that I moved. But the nice thing is that I was single, I was childless, and I could pick up a job anywhere basically. I kind of just continued with this route of picking up and moving and deciding that I was going to start fresh, and that kind of gave me a little bit of a feeling like I was a new person. I was not a new person. I was just kind of dragging my problems along with me everywhere. It wasn't until 2019 when I actually had something pretty serious happen in my life and ended up going to therapy. This was the first time in my life that I actually worked on myself and was working through problems that I had experienced. And I realized that I had a lot of problems. I had a lot of issues, and it wasn't just tied to a traumatic past. It was also tied to issues in myself and my character that I unfortunately just never realized. And I think that a lot of us, honestly, unless you're super self-aware, I think a lot of us just don't realize that we have these character flaws essentially, or that we have things about ourselves that we would like to change that aren't necessarily huge character flaws, but maybe you're not super good at, for example, if you procrastinate or something. I had a friend point out to me that I was really flaky, and it wasn't until somebody pointed this out to me that I realized that is an issue that I need to work on, because it's not okay for somebody else to stop basically their whole life for the day and kind of plan to meet me, and then I'm not there to meet them. So that's something that I had to work on. Fast forward a couple years, a couple more things happened, and then back in 2023, I became an alcoholic essentially, and just that was a very unhealthy habit that I picked up. And one day I got a call saying that my father had passed away, and I had a lot of mixed feelings about this. because we had such an awful no contact relationship for quite a long time. I went through a lot of different emotional unpacking, essentially, and because I was addicted to alcohol, it wasn't a good mix at all. It took me going back to therapy and kind of working through some more issues at that point for me to be able to kind of come to some sort of closure and move past that. And then I did what I was comfortable with, which was moving to a different state, to a different town. And I was like, I'm gonna have a fresh start and I'm gonna start over, and new year, new me, right? And I found my husband and I ended up having my first baby, and life kind of just started calming down. I think the reason why I decided to start working on myself and addressing all of these character flaws that I had was because I had a baby. When I realized that I was pregnant and I started going through my journey as a pregnant woman, I realized that I was bringing a child into this world, and I had so much baggage growing up and so many traumatic experiences growing up that I honestly cannot imagine putting all of that onto a child. I can't imagine passing on any sort of like negativeness or negative traits or negative habits onto a child that didn't ask to be here. And so that's kind of when my self-improvement journey began. And I started addressing all the little things that I felt like this needs improvement, that needs improvement for sure. Here I am today. I decided to start the Kohaku project channel because I really am passionate about improving yourself. I found a lot of real results in taking a good hard look in the mirror and being able to do the hard work on myself. It's not easy for sure, but if you're somebody that's also interested in working on yourself and making your world a better place, then stick on by, be here. Let's all be on this journey together. I feel like if we all just took some time in our lives to work on ourselves and make ourselves a better person, then the whole world would change. And I honestly, truly believe that 100% to the core. If everybody could work on themselves, everything would be so much better. And I say could because I recognize that it is a privilege. A lot of people don't have the education or don't have the opportunity or the time or the environment to work on themselves. And so I hope that I am able to make a little bit of a difference by kind of sharing these experiments that I want to share essentially on this channel. So what do I mean by experiments? Well, I kind of explained this in my channel trailer a little bit, but essentially there's a lot of self-help advice out there. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Atomic Habits or The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck or things like that. And so I'm really interested in kind of experimenting these strategies on myself and kind of sharing the results with you guys and seeing how they apply to just like an average person. And hopefully this can kind of help people see what it is in a sort of condensed video version, what these strategies look like and how they can apply them to their own lives. This upcoming week, I will be filming my very first video, my very first experiment, my very first project, and I'm super excited. So I hope that you guys will stick around, comment in the video down below if there's something that you'd like to share about something that you want to try on yourself. Maybe if there's a strategy that you've always kind of heard of but aren't too familiar with that you want to see me experiment or try out. I would love to hear it. So thank you so much for listening to my little introduction about myself, and I hope to see you guys in my next video where I will be experimenting my very first project. Thank you. Bye.